Welcome into all the Leo rising signs of the zodiac to your astrology for June 2025. I'm Cosmic Girl 101. Trust you're doing well. What a month. First, before I get into it, I just want to say thank you for pressing on this video and listening to the astrology with your Cosmic Girl. I appreciate it. My little Bubba channel's growing, and it's all thanks to astrology enthusiasts such as yourselves. So it's just important to give back a thank you to my listeners. Okay, now June, I think will be a month where you look back on with a lot of fondness. There's so many auspicious things happening with the planets as above, so below. We all get a dose of the good stuff. Thank the goddess in the month of June. And I'll talk about why that's happening and what it means to be a rising sign in this video. Okay, so before we get into that, let's talk about your chart rule of the sun. So the sun for the Leo rising signs continues moving through the zodiac sign of Gemini, where Jupiter is and Mercury is. So a little stellium going on in your 11th house. And that's the house of your friends, your social connections, benefactors, people that support you in some capacity professionally or with your career. And it's the house of where we think about and dream about a future. And what are those dreams? What does our future look like? That's the 11th house where we're all up in it. And your chart rule of the sun has been here and will continue its transit in Gemini with Jupiter and Mercury opening up the month of June. So I'd be enjoying the diversity, the variety, the almost silliness that you may have been experiencing and continuing to experience when it comes to all your social connections and your dreams and your goals, because it's a really uplifting transit with the sun in Gemini. It's light, it's fluffy, it's a lot of banter, a lot of dialogue, a lot of communication, a lot of free flowing energy when we're in Gemini season. And your chart rule of the sun being there indicates that you might be just really blown around by all the activity. So it could feel like there's just so much going on or coming at you with your chart ruler being in Gemini, which is so active. And that continues opening up the month of June, but then your chart rule of the sun ingresses into Cancer into your 12th house this month on the 21st, and that's a big shift of gears, if you will, for you as a Leo rising sign come June 21st. But for now, opening up the month, it's just all on. There's just communication, there's lots of travel, there's lots of invitations, social get togethers, lots of paperwork, lots of dialogue back and forth, lots of money exchange as well when Mercury is in domicile in Gemini, which he is. So you might be dealing a lot with financial aspects as well with this transit. So your sun is still in Gemini opening up the month, and there's so much good astrology this month. And apart from all of that, just keep in your back pocket. The sun's really, your focus is on all the activity of the Gemini house, the 11th house, where it's all go, 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 go. And then it shifts June 21st. So that's like your bit of astrology information to keep in your back pocket, even though there's all this other planetary stuff going on around us. That's primarily your focus on, where's the good stuff, where's the opportunities, where's the fun. Okay, so on the 6th, Venus ingresses into Taurus. She's in domicile in Taurus. This is her zodiac sign. She does very well in Taurus, and that bodes well for all of us when we've got a really content planet. So she's getting out of her detriment of Aries in your 9th house and ingressing into your 10th house from the 6th to July 4. So when we got a very strong position Venus in the top of your natal chart for you as a Leo rising sign, then it bodes really well for authorities and superiors in your life, just gifting you with green passes if you've been waiting for grants or approvals or a yes. This will be the transit that you hear a confident yes, we are helping you out. It's fantastic for your workplace or people in your professional arena being more available, providing like a resuscitation to your career, giving you a lifeline, helping you out, like shaking hands with people in your industry that can help you go that step further should you be in that working part of your journey in your life. You get the picture. Venus wants to bring you things in your 10th house of achievements, superiors, workplace, career, your public name. Venus wants to bless you with benefic opportunities and an easier time. So relish it. Everyone will be when Venus is in domicile in Taurus. But that bodes well for the Leo rising signs, because when she's out of her detriment of Aries and gets into Taurus, and she's been in Aries for quite some time in your ninth house, and that transit itself was complex for everybody. But in your ninth house of beliefs, religion, travel, higher education, things that are foreign to us, foreign people, foreign places, Venus in detriment, it's like, oh, it's just hard to access those topics and subjects organically, like hard to just keep the momentum up and believing and committing to something bigger in your life. I'm sure it's been hard going if you've been trying to really push yourself into starting something new when it comes to opening up your mind, body, spirit, and soul. But now Venus in the 10th, it's like, oh, you know, the reason it's been so difficult is because work hasn't been available, or you've been trying to deal with authority figures to get the green light, or you've been waiting on your professional life to take off so you can have the finances to do what you want to do with those ninth house topics. And now it all comes into play. So it's a really beneficial transit with Venus and Taurus in your 10th house. Enjoy that, Leo rising signs. On the 8th, Mercury conjuncts Jupiter. Yeah, this could be the day where you take a leap of faith, whether it's for a dream in your life where you put down some money, you put your money where your mouth is and go, yep, I'm putting down some money, I'm going on that trip, or I'm really going towards my heart's desire here. I'm going to step into life here and have a good crack at it. So the 8th of June could be the day where you surprise yourself and you go, too much thinking, I'm going for it. So Mercury conjunct Jupiter, there's something quite auspicious happening here that just takes you in a more positive direction, especially with your social connections, anyone that helps you with your career or even a dream. Looks really nice on the 8th. Then after Mercury conjuncts Jupiter, Mercury then ingresses into your 12th house of being Cancer. And this is a really quick transit. Mercury is only in Cancer from the 8th to the 26th of June. So we've got a really fast moving Mercury going out of its domicile and into Cancer, into your 12th house from the 8th to the 26th of June. So what does this mean for the Leo rising signs? Well, Mercury likes intellect, likes, give me the details. It's very logical. And when it's in Cancer, it's about feelings and emotions. So what you could experience here is, am I too much in my head and not dropping into my heart? Or am I too much into my heart and I'm not being logical? It'll be that seesaw you'll be dealing with Mercury in the 12th house of Cancer. But because it's the 12th house, it's things that you do in isolation, things that you do behind the scenes. It's not really public. It's the house of solitude, and it's the house where we lose ourselves. So with Mercury here flying through Cancer in your 12th house, um, you may be trying to deal with a very practical part of your experience versus what your heart's desire is. So it's sort of like trying to keep the head on whilst your heart's screaming for something else. So it can be quite a tricky transit to navigate. But it is in the 12th house, so I don't think it's going to be known to anyone else. I think you're just dealing with some sort of internal struggle from the 8th to the 26th of June when Mercury ingresses into Cancer. Okay, moving on to the 9th, Jupiter ingresses into Cancer. Jupiter's exalted in Cancer. We've got a well-positioned Jupiter. And this transit lasts until June 30, 2026, so quite a long time. Jupiter will be transiting in Cancer in its exaltation zodiac sign, no less. But this is happening in your 12th house. I'm laughing because I'm like, oh, no one's going to know the good stuff because it's all just for you. So be it. Jupiter exalted in Cancer in the 12th house is that cosmic green path for Leo rising signs to indulge in things behind the scenes that tick your boxes. So think of Jupiter exalted being really, really happy in your 12th house of isolation, solitude, the place where we let our freak flag fly behind closed doors and who gives a hoot. Think of it like that in your 12th house. So this is quite an indulgent transit, but it's just for you. So Jupiter in Cancer for a year and change from the 9th of June bodes well for filling your own cup up and getting your emotional needs met out of the public. So you're not seeking outside recognition or other people to fill your cup up so much. You're sort of doing it for yourself. And there's something self satisfactory about that when you just do things that you love in isolation and you're not really dependent on other people to prop you up. You're sort of doing it for yourself behind closed doors. So, this is great for therapy, going on pilgrimages, getting into meditation, any spiritual practices, anything of the occult, divinatory work, fantastic for renovating your psyche. Beautiful transit with Jupiter and Cancer in your 12th house for a year and a bit. That's other people just won't see just how beneficial it is for you to just do you. Lovely, really, really nice Leo rising signs. Also on the 9th, we have retrograde Pluto square Venus. Okay, this isn't a new tension because a square is a tension. So this is like a partnership or a relationship in your life that is really having a problem, if you will, or a conflict with someone in the public or a superior or someone that sort of holds the reins over them is not giving them a cosmic green pass on the 9th of June, and you're going to hear about it. So it's someone that you know is going to be basically airing out their dirty laundry to you and whinging about the same problems. So what do you do with this? Let them whinge or say, where is your fine line in the sand? Maybe you can move away from this or come from this from a different angle. So expect to be nursing egos with retrograde Pluto square Venus. And also on the same day, the 9th, we have Mercury squaring off with Saturn and Neptune. Okay, so this can be really irritating for you. Mercury, the head, logic, in Cancer, the heart, feelings, and trying to balance those two dichotomies in your 12th house of things that you do in isolation and behind closed doors. Well, there's a clash with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, which is the ninth house of travel, anything to do with higher education, foreign people, foreign places, and your religious, spiritual beliefs. So I liken this day as I'm not too sure on how to open up and expand. I'm not too sure if I want to commit to a travel, education, or spiritual opportunity. It's that sort of day where you're umming and ahhing on the 9th of June. So you can see and hear astrologically that the 9th of June is there's just a lot of different energies flying around on this day. Okay, on the 11th, we have our first lunation of the month, and this one is in Sagittarius at 20 degrees, lighting up your fifth house. And the fifth house is children, sex, pregnancy, intimacy, romantic partners, anything we do with artistic endeavors, things that we like to uh, pour our muse into, if you will. It's the house of joy and pleasure, and it's being lit up like a Christmas tree, if you will. So you think of things that are near and dear to your heart, Leo rising sign, which I'm sure there's plenty. But the ruler of the lunation is Jupiter, exalted in Cancer in your 12th house of, you can't see it. So I think on the 11th of June, what you might be dealing with here is a secret pregnancy, a secret romance, or something you do artistically being um, almost, unfortunately, not kept out of the spotlight. So this is like letting the rabbit out of the hat, whether it's you're exposing information about a relationship that you're in or you're ending one or a child has been trying to say, I didn't want to tell you I'm pregnant, but guess what, I am. Or you really are quite heightened, if you will, on this day, and really feeling quite raunchy and want to have some sort of sex play with partners behind closed doors, that sort of thing on the 11th of June. And because the ludation ruler is Jupiter in that 12th house exalted, whatever's revealed on this day, it's quite emotional. And I say that because Jupiter's exalted in Cancer, and Jupiter can really make things quite intense with things that you want to do behind closed doors or do in isolation. But when there's an exposure of something near and dear to your heart, then that can become a little bit nuanced or maybe a little bit irritating. So easy does it on the 11th of June, Leo rising signs. Moving on to the 13th to the 16th, so a 3-day window, you've got Uranus squaring Mars. And Uranus is the maverick of the solar system. Uranus wants to wake things up. Like it's the great awakener. In other words, it's like that bright light, that intelligence that just is on, it's present. And these 3 days, you'll see Uranus in Taurus, also with Venus in Taurus in your 10th house. So shake-ups with superiors, career, something to do with your professional arena, is having a problem with you because it's squaring Mars in Leo in your first house. So this looks like you may be slackening off or not showing up, feeling maybe a little bit pressured to go in a different direction, or you thought something was in the bag and it's not. So it can be a little bit of a hiccupy, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening kind of 3 days, the 13th to the 16th. May not be all rosy, unfortunately. The 17th, Mars leaves Leo, your first house, and ingresses into your second house of Virgo until the 6th of August. So, Mars, the planet of action, strategy, passion, is zooming through your second house of finances, your assets, possessions, and your livelihood. And it's Virgo. So, you think of Mars as being strategic and passionate, and now it's in your second house of money. So this is you being extremely frugal, being very hyper vigilant, if you will, of what's coming in and out of your money accounts. Like, what have I got? How much have I got? Is my job got enough financial support for me to get what I need? So I feel like this transit for you might be you scrambling to get on top of your financial position. And you might be extremely fastidious, almost critical. So being frugal is one thing, but being um, almost general like with yourself and being self deprecating, I'd watch for that with Mars and Virgo in his second house on the 17th of June to the 6th of August. But what is good about this? And you think, oh, geez, well, that sounds like I'm going to have an intense transit. You will. It's Mars. Mars is intense. You've just experienced Mars in your first house. You know how Mars can really get you going and agitate you. But Mars in Virgo, in the earth sign, Mars is like passionately pursuing something practical that's almost unchanging. And that can make you feel like, oh, this all feels a little bit restrictive, but it's really good at precision, details, analytics, and crunching numbers. So if you have to put pen to paper, get your calculator out and balance the balance sheets. And this is the fantastic transit to do it, to get on top of your financial life. Really quite nice with Mars in Virgo. Okay, moving on to the 21st now, the Sun, your chart ruler, ingresses into Cancer, joining Mercury and Jupiter in your 12th house. So you're transiting in the 12th house of Cancer until the 22nd of July. So this doubles down on the joy of checking out, doing things behind closed doors and in isolation, whistling while you work, changing gears, getting ready to launch into something new and fresh for yourself when the sun does go into Leo on the 22nd of July. So, this is like the 4 week window, if you will, where you go, I'm getting all my ducks in a row. What do I need to do? What do I need to prepare? Because I'm really going to start, stepping into my own shoes here and I'm going to be off to the races. So, this is a great 4 week window to prepare for new things to come into your life and take more action, like literally step into your skin. But for now, you might be more prone to navel gazing, eating too much chocolate cake, chilling out, watching Netflix, that sort of thing. Not really interested in showboating or putting a lot of energy out there with this transit. I think you're sort of building some sort of energy level here for 4 weeks before your chart rule of the sun steps into your first house where it's like go time. So use the transit wisely. And how would you use this wisely if it's in Cancer where it's all about feelings and emotions and checking out? Well, being wise about conserving your energy is important, and securing something just for yourself is important. And then when you feel safe and secure within yourself, when you step outside your door, you feel confident. You don't look elsewhere for things or other people to fill your cup up. You're self sufficient. So do what you need to do to nurture yourself, love on yourself, relax a bit more when your chart rule of the sun transits in Cancer from June 21st to the 22nd of July, because after that date, it's on. A lot of astrology information, huh? Just for a minute, just contemplate this because this is great astrology of June. This is why I think a lot of us will reflect back on this month quite nicely with a lot of admiration for the shifts and change of the planets in transit. You've got Venus, the lesser benefic, in domicile in Taurus. This is a fantastic transit for Venus. And you've got Jupiter exalted in Cancer, a fantastic zodiac sign for Jupiter to be in. The greater benefics. So you've got the two benefics that are all about producing life and enjoyment are well positioned. And so the whole month of June just is about everyone all of a sudden having the wind at their back. So June, this month is a fantastic month. On the 25th, there's a new moon in Cancer. So the moon's in domicile, Jupiter's exalted in Cancer, Venus is in domicile in Taurus. You get the picture. Things are really good. So the 25th with a new moon in Cancer at 4 degrees in your 12th house with Mercury, Jupiter, your chart rule, the sun. It's all happening in the 12th house. And they have a new beginning that you're doing in isolation and in solitude and things that fill your cup up behind closed doors. So that moon is intense, very different from your chart rule of the sun. Why is the moon intense? Because the moon always forebodes something shifting and changing in the body, the environment, and with people, feelings, and emotions. And they can be a little extra, if you will, when they're in Cancer, which is all about nurturing and compassion and feelings and intuition and emotion. And you chuck that in with the body, people, the environment. You get the picture. It's all a bit, whoa, there's a lot going on. But With the new moon in Cancer in that 12th house, where there's a lot of emotional cups that you can dip your toes into, it can feel a lot on the 25th, where you're trying to, for better words, get out of the head and into the heart instead of thinking mode too much. What makes you feel good? So, trying to make an emotional decision on the 25th is not without its nuances and complexities. When you have to factor into what I begin now is affecting people, my body, my environment, but I'm doing it all behind closed doors and no one really knows. So it can be quite a, for better words, clandestine new beginning. And that would be about right because new moons are dark, you can't see them and no one really sees them. But sometimes we have to do things just for ourselves and we'll think about the other people and the effects later on. So, whatever you're beginning on the 25th, it's just for you for now. And the full moon in Cancer won't be until full moon in Cancer will be at the end of the year in Capricorn season, towards, December. So, whatever's starting here has its reveal in December. So, whatever you begin now, it's going to be a 6-month journey that transforms and changes you up profoundly, whether it's your body, your home environment, or people that you knock shoulders with. It's a big deal on the 25th of June. The 26th, Mercury leaves Cancer, your 12th house, and ingresses into your first house, Leo, until the 2nd of September. Really good position for Mercury. Mercury is in its joy in the first house. Through Hellenistic teachings, with the planetary joy system, Mercury finds his joy in the first house. So you've got a well positioned Mercury at the helm. This bodes well for you as a Leo rising sign from the 26th to the 2nd of September. So, why does that bode well for you? Well, think Mercury, logic, and intellect. And then you put it in the first house of the self, the body, your health, your appearance, and what you like. So, you got your thinking cap on and the house of beginnings and new starts, and what fills your cup? What gets your motor going? Leo rising signs. I mean, you had Mars here. I'm sure Mars has really cleared the proverbial decks for you, got rid of all your obstacles and challenges, and really kicked up a lot of energy for you. And then when Mercury gets in, it's like, now let's talk about what's the cost of what we're doing? What's the social repercussions of what we're doing going to influence our well laid plans forward, moving forward? And what about travel? How is travel affecting you? So this transit's all about let's put our thinking caps on and what we're beginning, how it's affecting our body, our health, our identity, our appearance, what we want to begin. What do we need to do to streamline here? And not removing the fact that Mercury is well positioned. So this is great for mental dexterity, sharp, really sharp thinking. So you'll be very active, on the move, um, especially with the mind in getting excited about what you're ready to launch into. But you're getting down to brass tacks at the same time with Mercury in the first house. And this is good because your chart rule, the sun's in the 12th, really dropping into your emotions and your feeling, what works, what doesn't, and the new moon. And then your chart rule, the sun gets in here next month, 22nd of July, and it's like all systems go. So Mercury's like Mars, sort of excavating and prepping the ground before you arrive home. So working with astrology, I would say crunch the numbers, know where you're heading with certainty, get on top of things that you need to end, like hit on the head. Get rid of the dead wood. Mercury's here going, yep, you don't need that. You don't need that. Great communicator. Great at just having an eye for detail. Great for just sifting through the wheat and the chaff and being very analytical about decisions. So this is a really good transit for you to, yeah, end things, get rid of things that are distracting you or in your way, and clear the decks because you're about to enter into the first house next month. So I'd be working with this transit and thinking of it as Mercury as a gift to you. Gives you the intelligence, the mental agility to really deal with things on the fly really quickly. So it's actually quite a good transit for you when Mercury gets into your first house from the 26th of June to the 2nd of September. Moving on, the 29th to the 30th, Mercury opposes retrograde Pluto. This is really defiant energy. Mercury, the mind, speech, communication in your first house. So this is you as a Leo rising sign. Think you've got the Mercury hat on. You're very analytical. You're just facts and figures at this point with Mercury in the first house. And then those facts and figures and those thoughts and communication is really not gelling with a relationship in your life. So I liken these 2 days as you've got your shit together, but someone that in your relationship with um hasn't caught up, and that can be really frustrating because it's an opposition. It's like you say that, but I say this. So Mercury's really sharp, quick, adept. You've got all your mental faculties about you. You've got all the details in front of you. You're very logic. You're very matter of fact, if you will. And retrograde Pluto in Aquarius is like, I'm really holding the line. I'm staying here. I don't want to change. Fixed air yang zodiac sign of Aquarius. So think of a relationship or someone in your life, Leo rising signs, that doesn't change a lot. They're stubborn, they're idealistic, they don't really run with the status quo, they're against it, they're a bit of a hard ass, and they're challenging your communication or they're challenging your thoughts or conversations on this day or your logic. So from the 29th to the 30th, I'd be on the lookout for pushback from someone that just isn't playing nice or willing to work with you. Well, that's your moment, isn't it? And if you think, well, I I can't comply anymore or agree anymore, I'm going to have to make a decision about this relationship because they're not budging, they don't help me, they're not willing to look at another side or the logic or even my explanation of whatever you're trumpeting or trying to communicate. So what's the point here? So this could be a few days where you really question the longevity of a relationship in your life of any nature, Leo rising sign. That's your astrology for the month of June. I trust you have a good one. If you have any astrological inquiries about your own natal chart, contact me at cosmicgirl101 at protonmail.com. I'd love to work with you. Feel free to leave any comments in the comments section below. It's a great month. Benefic planets, exalted planets. Yay, it's just on. It's just a really nice month. We're always going to have our little agitating moments. Welcome to planet Earth, but primarily it's a really good month. Until next time, Leo Rising, stay cosmic.